Welcome back to the Embrace Life Boldly podcast. I am your host, Coach Tammy Ward. Today, we are going somewhere tender. We're going somewhere a little personal, actually, which is going to be fun. We're going somewhere it took me a long time to be willing to go myself, which is very exciting. And we're talking about love, but not the pretty Instagram quote version of love. We're talking about the shadow side of love. That side that doesn't get talked about at brunch or at the cocktail hour. The side that hides in the places where we're most loyal, most devoted, we're most committed. And specifically, we're talking about something called the enabling trap, the shadow side of love. So I want you to grab, that cup of something warm or cold. Find a quiet space if you can, because we're about to go a little deep. Not deep, but just something that's important. At least it is for me. And I promise you it's worth it. So sit back, put your earbuds in, turn up the volume, get that notebook and paper. And if shadow side of love is something you might want to take notes on, save it a little bit later. Something you can dive into. But if you are someone who grew up feeling abandoned, betrayed, unsafe, or felt that love and pain came in the same package deal, this episode is for you. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the enabling trap. And here's where I want to start. When we think about enabling, most of us think about, it's usually in those terms of you're enabling that person, you're enabling him, you're enabling her, you're enabling the teenager that's just trying to still be little, right? But the enabling trap I want to talk about today is more personal than that. It's the trap of enabling a story about what love is supposed to look like and feel like. A story that was written for you, but before you were even old enough to question it. You see, when you grew up in an environment like I did, where love and harm live under the same roof, your nervous system has to make a choice. And that choice, the choice it makes is both brilliant and heartbreaking. It's a choice to where you decide to keep loving, to make excuses, to become smaller, to be quieter, and to do better. And this causes your body to go right into survival mode. So you're basically saying, I will protect the relationship at the cost of protecting myself. And this is the enabling trap I was talking about. And it doesn't just happen in childhood. So, as we get older, it follows us throughout life. And the love you gave yourself to survive, to protect yourself, it did its job. You did your job. But at a cost, at a deep cost. And as we get older, most of us don't realize our body has taken on the wiring of survival. And until it begins to show up in friendship, it does. Well, as we get older, it will begin to show up in friendships. It begins to show up in romantic relationships. It begins to show up in your work. It begins to show up in relationships you have with yourself, with your mind, with your body, with your spirit. It begins to show up in all kinds of ways that you didn't even think were possibly imaginable. But here's the part that changed everything for me when I first began to understand it. A child does not blame themselves for being confused. They do it because they love. Because for a child, the parent, the caregiver, whomever raised you, the one you are wired to run toward is not just important to you. They are your world, your safety, your whole sense of what is real. And that a child's mind cannot hold two things at the same time. It cannot hold two things at the same time. It cannot hold this person loves me and this person is hurting me at the same time. So it makes a choice. And the only choice that keeps the world intact at that moment is I must be the reason. I must be the cause. I must be the number one factor. Not because the child is weak, not because the child is wrong, but because love for that child depends on it. Because if I am the problem, then the person I love is still safe to love, still trustworthy, still mine. And if I am the reason things go wrong, I can fix it. I can be better. I can earn my way back. I mean, how many times have you heard yourself say that in relationships as an adult, as a teenager, as a young person, right? In your 20s, 30s, mid 40s, right? But if they are the reason, then I am alone in a way that has no bottom. And that's not confusion. That is devotion. And the most costly kind. And that is where the enabling trap takes root, right? In that moment right there. Not in weakness, but in the purest, most desperate form of love. A child knows how to give. Because you didn't make excuses for them. You didn't make excuses for harm. You didn't minimize the pain. You protected the one person you could not afford to lose. The invitation I want to extend to you today is a gentle one. Not to take back what you gave. Not to rewrite the love as something it wasn't. But to ask yourself, maybe for the first time, what would it look like to turn that same fierce loyalty towards yourself? I'm going to get really personal here for just a moment, because this piece is the one that helped me understand why the trap is so hard to see from the inside. You know, and I want to approach this with just like full heart open, full heart, and that essence of just being pure, right? The enabling trap is not just a thought pattern. It is a body level program. When you came of age in upheaval or unpredictability or emotional danger, your body didn't have the luxury of feeling safe. I did not have the luxury of feeling safe. So it calibrated itself to the storm, right? The hypervigilance, the people-pleasing, the shrinking, over-explaining, apologizing for every... even existing. I mean, there are times where I apologize for even existing. You see, the internal wiring learned crises are easy and familiar. And calm meant that something was wrong. Like wrong. Like wrong. And here it was. And here is what that looks like, right? Once we're grown up. And like when you're a child, this is what it looks like when you're grown up. When you are with people are in an environment that are kind, consistent, and emotionally available, you might feel bored, suspicious, like it's too easy, like it can't be real, like you're looking for something about to fall, something's going to break, something is about to give, like this cannot. You self-sabotage. You begin to sabotage everything, or yourself, or a sentence, or you create lies, or you create exaggerations because, you know, this can't be real. So I'm going to create something that doesn't sound real, right? I mean, trust becomes the main hiccup. You're unable to trust the emotionally available because you do not know what it's supposed to feel like. You don't know what it's supposed to feel like. So when it feels unfamiliar, you're looking for ways out. Then when you're in an environment or meet someone who brings the turbulence, the push-pull, the hot and cold, your body says, "Ooh, I like it. I know what that feels like. You're hot, you're cold, you're secretive. I love this game. I know how to play this one. I've won this game many, many times. Let's roll with it, right?" I mean, it's becomes easy. You know it. This is the conditioning program running in your nervous system. And they sound like this in your mind. This is what it sounds like. Love means tolerating pain. If I set a boundary, I'll be abandoned. Don't do it. My needs are a burden. Don't show anybody. Keeping the peace is my responsibility. Always be the kind one. Always be the nice one. And when you hear those, ooh, that's danger, danger, Will Robinson. Because that isn't right. That really isn't safe. And it doesn't feel like love. And when you say to yourself those things aren't right, the world will say you're too sensitive. You're imagining things. But that's just how family is, dysfunctional. That's just how love works. Relationships are that way. Give and take. And so you learned, slowly, painfully, to override your own signal. You learned to feel the truth and then talk yourself out of it. Not just that you enabled someone else, but that you learned to betray yourself. And this is one of the deepest wounds that the enabling trap leaves behind. These aren't truths. They are programs, and they run quietly and visibly, shaping every relationship you enter. And for me, it looked like this. This is how it looked like for me. I had a deep desire to chase intensity because peace felt unfamiliar. My host system was in chaos because calm was never safe in childhood nor in the military. So I would go seeking chaos. I would create it sometimes. I would go into panic mode when someone didn't need me because attachment felt safer to me. And I would rather be useful than loved. Because being loved would trigger fear within me. So I unconsciously kept people at a distance, close enough to feel connection, but never close enough to feel it fully, to really, truly feel what connection felt like. And that's not character flaw. That was a nervous system that learned connection wasn't safe. So here's how I begun to shift, right? Which we all can do. I just began to befriend my nervous system. I learned to talk with it. I mean, it took time, right? I just began to tell it to watch out for traps, to slow down, to question things, to begin to step back just for a moment, right? Because the moment you start asking, why do I keep making excuses for this person? Why am I being nervous around this person? Why can I be, why can I not, why can I just get comfortable in my own comfortability? Right? You know, what does upheaval feel more like home than peace? Like, why does it seem like I want to be like enraged than calm? I just begin to ask. I just begin to talk with it. And that's the moment the trap began to loosen. Were there times where I stopped the vehicle, slammed my fist on the steering wheel, and like tears falling down my face and just white knuckling that damn steering wheel because I was screaming so loud, not understanding why my body felt so out of whack, and the word safety didn't even feel familiar to me. Yes. But I have a choice that the child did not have. You have a choice the child did not have. We are not our conditioning. And we can recalibrate from survival to awareness. And this is your awareness, saying it's time to grieve the survival wiring you had to build. You had to build to stay alive. I mean, you did a great job. I did a great job. We all did a great job. And now we get to do something new. We get to start listening again, listening to our intuition, because our intuition never stopped telling the truth. We just stopped letting ourselves hear it. So here's what it looks like in practice, right? So in practice, not as a grand overhaul, right? I mean, let's not go buck wild here. Let's just take it slow. I mean, our nervous system has been in this fight or flight for how freaking long? So let's just go slow for once in our freaking life. One moment at a time. Let your body have new experiences over and over. Sit in the quiet and not run. Let someone love you without making yourself useful first. Stay when peace arrives instead of dismantling it. Begin to teach your body a new definition of love, your definition of love. And it may be different than what the world thinks. It may be different than what your partner wants. It may be different than what your friend thinks it is. Heck, it may be different than what your neighbor thinks. It's your definition, yours. One that feels like peace instead of rescue, steadiness instead of storm, openness instead of shame. Teach your body one moment at a time that you are safe to be loved. Not because the world is perfect, but because you have become the safety you were never given. Safety. Become safe within your own self. Because that child in you was not wrong to hope. But here is what I know to be true from my own journey and from walking alongside so many of you. You don't have to keep paying with your peace for the privilege of belonging. And you're never meant to earn love by shrinking. Love was never meant to be trapped or be a trap. Love was never supposed to be something you endure. It was meant to be lived. So today, I want to ask you gently, lovingly, one question. Where in your body right now are you enabling a story that is costing you yourself? Not with judgment, just with curiosity, with the willingness to just be aware of it. And the moment you discover it or feel it, I would love it if you just reach down and touch that spot in your body to let it know that you are aware of it. You see it. You love it. And that you've already started to untrap it. Oh, take a deep breath with me. Let it out with a sigh. Take all that in. That was a mouthful. Recalibration, my friends. In this beautiful timeline split that we are in. To either be conscious or unconscious. The choice is yours. All right, my Embrace Life Boldly peeps. Thank you for being here with me today on this beautiful Embrace Life Boldly podcast. If this episode touched you, I would love for you to share it with a friend who you know might need it. Share it in your stories, wherever your people find you. Leave a comment if it feels right. And if you're ready to go a bit deeper, you know where to find me. Coach-Tammy.com. And until next time, keep loving, keep growing, and keep it embracing life boldly. I love you. I'll see you next episode.